Welcome to Ignite News on 6 at 6. It's Friday, August 22nd, 2025. I'm Rihanna Nekram. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Today's early voting for members of the Discipline Services was a smooth process. President Irfan Ali has strongly rejected the Carter Center's suggestion that the PBC is using state resources to gain an unfair campaign advantage. Guyana has pledged deeper regional cooperation to fight organized crime and narco-terrorism. And businessman urges Guyana's business community to champion inclusivity. It was smooth sailing today as members of the Discipline Services cast their ballots ahead of the general population for the September 1st elections. This early voting process, which includes the police force, defense force, and prison service, is provided for under Section 65H of the Representation of the People Act. It ensures that officers can carry out their national duties on Election Day without missing the chance to vote. At the Police Officers' Mess Annex in Eve Leary, Commissioner of Police Clifton Hicken was the first to vote, officially opening the day's proceedings. He was soon followed by other senior officers as law enforcement ranks exercised a democratic right at the polls.
The process will come. I think based on whatever just now they're time and everything is good.
The Guyana Elections Commission GCOM has expressed confidence in the arrangements for today, having rolled out a plan to accommodate more than 10,000 members of the discipline services across the country. Ballots were dispatched to key regions, with the remainder flown to hinterland areas. All ballots are kept secure and will be counted alongside regular votes on Election Day to maintain fairness and secrecy. Commissioner Hicken added that he plans to visit multiple polling stations throughout the day to ensure everything runs smoothly.
I'm going to spend the entire day visiting stations and all the areas where they've been voting to ensure that everything is going smooth.
Despite a smooth start, there were minor challenges today, particularly involving party agents who did not have proper accreditation letters required to access polling stations. GCOM's Deputy Chief Elections Officer Anil Giddings spoke about how these issues were addressed.
So some of the parties would not have issued their accreditation letters or their appointment letters to the agents. Yes, we did have communication from the agents informing us that these are the persons appointed. Unfortunately, we didn't have their letters. So our ballot attendants, they're trained to ask for these letters of appointment. And we have been working with the parties and the attendants to ensure that the agents are participating.
The legal basis for early voting is set out in Section 65H of the Representation of the People Act, which allows GCOM to appoint polling stations and facilitate voting for certain electors prior to the official election day. GCOM also uses a two-envelope system, keeping the voters' registration districts separate from the ballot until election day, maintaining the integrity of the process.
These officers are afforded the opportunity to vote in the district where they are assigned to work and not in the district where they are registered to vote. So when the ballots arrive in country, we've gone through a process of extraction and sorting those 10,481 ballots in the presence of political party agents. We've gone through a process of enveloping those ballots using two envelopes, one with the name and ID number of the elector on the outside, and the inner envelope containing that ballot with just the region where that officer is assigned or registered on the official list of electors. Upon the close of poll today, when those ballots are returned, those ballots will be sorted by the respective district, and they will be placed in secure custody according to district. We have gazetted the list of polling stations where those ballots will be intermixed on Election Day, which is the 1st of September. So those ballots will be counted in the respective district where the officers are registered to vote.
The early voting exercise also included the Guyana Defense Force, where officers cast their ballots at various locations. The Chief of Defense Staff expressed satisfaction with the process.
My experience just now was a very organized and smooth one, and I want to thank all those who were responsible for ensuring that this was done successfully, at least when I wasn't there. I do not anticipate any issue because all soldiers are expressing and exercising their democratic right to participate in this beautiful and important process.
The Guyana Prison Service also joined in, allowing more than 600 prison officers across multiple facilities, including Mazaruni, Lusignan, Georgetown, and Tamari, to cast their votes without interrupting daily operations. Head of the prison service, Nicolan Elliott, explained how the exercise was organized.
I am very honored and pleased to have done my constitutional responsibility as the head of the Guyana Prison Service, and so my other colleagues, the prison officers, they are joining me in this regard, and we expect all of the prison officers to cast their votes within the next 2 hours because we have a small team with just about 500 prison officers. So today we have all staff on duty. For Mazrini, we have a special detail where staff will be staggered so it will not affect the operations of the prisons, and so everybody will be given the opportunity to cast their vote. At Mazrini, Lusiknan, Georgetown, Timeri, and all the other locations.
Elliott added that the process was seamless, with GCOM staff providing clear guidance to all officers. He praised the professionalism of the personnel managing the voting and emphasized that every officer had the right to vote. Overall, early voting for members of the discipline services was conducted in a secure and orderly manner, ensuring that all ballots are included in the official count on election day. This system allows officers to exercise their democratic rights while maintaining operational readiness across the country. In more election news, the Guyana Elections Commission has reminded the public that the law prohibits obstruction, molestation, or interference within 200 yards of a polling place. Citing Section 78 of the Representation of the People Act, GCOM say no one is allowed near a polling place to annoy or question voters about their choice of candidates. This applies to everyone without exception. Public Relations Officer Yolanda Ward this morning explained to the media that the Commission's emphasis on the provision is not meant to target any group, but to ensure voter comfort.
I want to particularly clarify that with the enforcement of 200 yards, it's not that we intend in any way to hamper or obstruct the coverage of media, but we also have a responsibility to ensure that the process goes uninterrupted as provided for in Section 78 of the Representation of the People Act. We know what historically obtains, but we have also received reports of officers feeling molested, annoyed, or obstruction to the ingress, the egress, and exit of the poll. So we want to ensure that that order prevails in accordance with what the Representation of the People Act provides for.
The Commission also reminded that Section 78A makes it an offense to block access to a polling place or interfere with the voting process. Offenders can face a fine of $65,000 and up to 1 year in prison. Section 79 further outlines who is legally permitted to be inside polling places, polling stations, or present during the count. GCOM is urging all stakeholders to follow the law and avoid election offenses, while expressing confidence that the upcoming polls will be free, fair, transparent, and credible. When we return, President Ali dismisses claims in the Carter Center report. PPP General Secretary Barry Jagdeo shares his own take on the findings, and APNU takes his campaign message to Agricola. Stay with us.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive!
Welcome back. President Irfan Ali denies claims that PPC is misusing state resources for its campaign. The Carter Center in a pre-election report, which suggests that the ruling People's Progressive Party Civic, PPC, may be misusing state resources and blurring the line between government functions and party campaigning. The report highlighted concerns over the possible use of state media, government vehicles, and other public assets in ways that could give the incumbent an unfair advantage. Speaking to members of the media outside a polling station at base camp Guyana, where discipline services voting got underway today, President Ali said, absolutely not.
We are incumbent, all right? And these accusations are always there. But our party, as you know, might have been the only party that would have had so many fundraisers. You have seen it all across the country, so we have been able to raise enough resources with the love and support of the people, with the love and support of our supporters and members, and we have been able to raise enough resources to efficiently carry out our campaign and our work for these elections. So there is no need for state resources, and state resources have not been deployed to support our campaign.
The president, who is seeking re-election on September 1st, added that the PPC has raised sufficient funds with the help of its members and supporters across the country, eliminating any need to rely on state resources. Another member of the PPP has issued an opinion on the Carter Center report. PP General Secretary Dr. Bar Jagdeo says he is satisfied with the parts on Ghana's electoral environment, but he also disagrees with other elements. At his weekly press briefing on Thursday, Dr. Jagdeo welcomed the finding that there is no evidence to support claims of a bloated voters list.
The report confirms what we have been saying all along, that there is absolutely no evidence that the list is bloated.
He also said he was pleased that the report described the election environment as peaceful, with all parties able to campaign freely. Jagdeo stressed that these findings are critical to ensuring credible polls. But he disagreed with other sections of the report, saying some of the conclusions appear based only on opposition allegations. On the issue of banks closing accounts of members of the WIN party over links to OFAC-sanctioned candidate Azin Mohammed, Jagdeo criticized the Carter Center for cautioning against over-compliance with sanctions.
OFAC made it very explicit, and that's the United States Treasury Department, which is a financial institution, said, we will not tell the local banks what to do, because each bank operates within a framework. So I find that very strange.
He argued that it was unusual for the center to tell banks how to run their affairs when even OFAC has not done so. The Carter Center also cited allegations that the ruling party is using state resources for campaigning. Jagdeo rejected this, saying the president is still the sitting head of state, and accused opposition ministers of continuing to use state assets months after leaving office in 2020. A Partnership for National Unity, APNU, took its election campaign to Agricola last evening, relaying a message of better wages, safer communities, and wealth to supporters. Speaking at the event, former Deputy Commissioner of Police Dr. Paul Williams said the community has an important role to play in the development of Guyana. He promised that APNU will restore it to its former glory, as he outlined the party's developmental plans.
We have declared, and our leader has signed the pact to say definitely these are the things we're committed to. One, we're committed to ensure that there's a 35% increase for all public servants and even the private sector workers. We are to ensure that our pensioners has been given $100,000 a month.
Dr. Williams, who served the Ghana Police Force for 38 years, also addressed the issue of police reform, assuring that APNU changed the way police interact with civilians.
We're going to ensure that you have a police force that can relate to you, that can solve your problems from a community perspective, and to know definitely how to relate to you. Please, I want you to know that everything that is happening, we have been taking note of. And at no time, at no stage, on our next opportunity be given, under the leadership of Aubrey Compton Norton, we're going to neglect Agricola.
Additionally, Dr. Williams shared with residents and supporters aspects of the party's manifesto, including plans for a rent-to-own housing initiative, opportunities for youth training, and a $50,000 per month incentive for university students. He also noted that if APNU is elected, the agricultural sector will be maximized to a sustainable level, with plans to develop the non-oil economy. Political veteran and former advisor to the David Granger administration, Frederick McWilfred, says every political party has a duty to look after its base if it wants to survive in government. Speaking on Political Insights last Monday, McWilfred dismissed claims that the PPC is racist, arguing instead that the party is simply doing what all political organizations must do: maintain the support of their core voters.
This is not racism. What the PPP is doing is not racist. What they're doing is securing their political base, and no one can fault them for that. Who stopped Granger from securing his political base in the 2015-2020 time period? No one stopped him. He refused to do it.
He criticized former President David Granger, saying he did not do enough for his supporters and failed to strengthen the APNU-AFC coalition. McWilfred claimed Granger ignored his advisors, avoided key meetings, and sidelined the coalition's smaller parties. He stressed that voters expect tangible results when they back a party, and when those expectations are not met, it can spell disaster.
All this talk about soup drinking and all this nonsense. The Fact of the matter is, when people support you politically, they look forward to some kind of benefit, regardless of who they are and where they are. Businessmen support political parties because they're looking for business. The ordinary people vote for you because they feel when you get into office, they will be assisted. And one of the unfortunate things about the Granger administration is it paid very little attention to the political base of the PNC.
McWilford said he spent time with ordinary members of the PNC who were struggling, but saw little effort by the party to help them. He concluded that this failure contributed to the downfall of the Granger administration, while the PPP continues to strengthen its base. When we come back, the government restates its commitment to fight organized crime. Businessman calls on the private sector to embrace inclusivity. And in sports, Guyanese sprinter brings home a Pan Am Games bronze.
Your business is built on hard work, vision, and the drive to succeed. At GBTI, we understand what it takes to grow. That's why we offer Grow, a small business service designed to help your business expand, adapt, and reach its full potential. From new opportunities to new milestones, we're here to support you every step of the way. Grow from GBTI. Progress starts here.
You're watching Ignite News on 6 at 6. Thanks for staying with us. Guyana pledges deeper regional cooperation to fight organized crime and narco-terrorism. In a statement today, the government reaffirmed its commitment to dismantling transnational criminal networks and strengthening cooperation with regional and international partners to fight organized crime and narco-terrorism. This statement comes as reports indicate the United States has deployed 3 warships off the coast of Venezuela, expected to arrive by the weekend, as Washington ramps up its campaign against Latin American drug cartels. Guyana said it views with grave concern the threat posed to regional peace and security by these networks, including Venezuela's Cartel de los Soles, where some countries have designated a terrorist organization. According to the government, such groups not only fuel violence but also weaken state institutions, undermine democracy, and put human development at risk. In a statement, the administration emphasized that confronting narco-terrorism requires unity and pledged that Guyana will continue to support a collaborative regional approach to cross-border crime. President Irfan Ali, in particular, has reaffirmed Guyana's dedication to upholding the rule of law and preserving the region as a zone of peace. Entrepreneurs attending a National Small Business Week Symposium hosted by the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce at the Arthur Chung Convention Center last Saturday heard about the value of building inclusive workplaces. Guyanese businessman Omkar Sharma, CEO of Amaya Milk Company, who returned home to help revive the local dairy industry, said workplaces free from discrimination are more productive and allow employees to reach their full potential.
To truly harness the potential of our human capital, we must have workplaces where everyone, whether staff, supplier, or customers, feel welcomed. A workplace where everyone feels safe, respected, and valued is a place where your staff can be their best and you will have tangible results. Customers and suppliers will notice the difference and choose to support you because they know that they will also be valued.
Sharma noted that even as Guyana's economy grows, many skilled and unskilled workers continue to migrate overseas.
I have to ask, what are we doing to keep our talented people? Are we ensuring that our workplaces are free of discrimination? Are harassment, bullying? Are we doing enough to ensure that everyone, regardless of race, religion, or sex, are feeling welcomed? Unless we're able to fully treat everyone with respect and dignity, how can we expect to create a workplace that is inviting, not only for our staff, but also customers and suppliers?
He pointed out that while discrimination based on race or religion is widely condemned, prejudice against the gay community is often ignored and reinforced by laws that criminalize homosexuality. Sharma compared these laws to outlawing someone's faith or skin color, saying business leaders must set the tone for inclusion. He called for the repeal of anti-gay laws and urged the business community to back this change. He stressed that inclusivity is not charity, but a foundation for stronger businesses, a strong economy, and a more united nation. In sports, Kelisa Smith secured a bronze medal for Guyana in the women's 200-meter final at the Junior Pan American Games in Paraguay on Thursday evening. Smith clocked 23.42 seconds, with the Dominican Republic's Rurani Alonso taking gold in a championship record of 22.69 seconds, while Colombia's Marleta Espino claimed silver in 23.14 seconds. Her time in the final was slightly slower than her semi-final performance of 23.08 seconds, which came close to the national record of 22.94 seconds. Nevertheless, Smith's bronze adds to Guyana's tally of 3 medals so far, alongside swimmer Rickwan Noel, bronze, and the 4x400-meter mixed relay team, bronze. The country remains hopeful for further success, with Staphon Rhodes set to compete in the triple jump and the men's 4x400-meter relay team also in action later. South Africa's dominance over Australian one-day cricket continues. The Proteas sealed their 5th straight bilateral one-day international series win today with an 84-run victory in Mackay. Defending 277, South Africa bowled out Australia for just 193, taking an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series. It's their 8th series win in the last 10 against Australia, and their 17th victory in the past 21 completed ODIs between the sides. Apart from Josh Inglis, who struck a fighting half-century, ending at 87 off 74 balls, the rest of the Australian batting lineup faltered against disciplined bowling from Lungi Ngidi, who claimed 5 wickets for 42, and Leandre Berger, who managed 2 for 23. Still ahead, why Jamaica's central bank is rejecting advice from the IMF. The Trump administration halts visas for foreign truck drivers. And UN warns that extreme heat is putting billions of workers at risk. Welcome back. In Jamaica, the central bank governor is pushing back against an IMF call to reduce interventions in the foreign exchange market. Bank of Jamaica Governor Richard Biles has pushed back against recommendations from the International Monetary Fund to scale back foreign exchange market interventions. Speaking at the central bank's quarterly briefing, Biles insisted that daily interventions remain the best way to curb volatility in Jamaica's small and fragile currency market. Senior Deputy Governor Wayne Robinson supported the position, saying the market is not yet strong enough to function without constant oversight. The IMF, in its June Article 4 report, urged Jamaica to reduce the Bank of Jamaica's role and allow the dollar's value to be more influenced by supply and demand. The fund also suggested easing surrender requirements to deepen the market. But Biles argued that the central bank's approach protects stability and confidence. He noted that the BOG continues to build reserves through regular purchases, which can be deployed to stabilize the market during sharp movements. Biles stressed that while policies are constantly reviewed, interventions remain critical to Jamaica's economic management. In international news, the United States has announced an immediate pause on all worker visas for foreign commercial truck drivers. Secretary of State Marco Rubio claimed yesterday that a rising number of foreign drivers behind the wheel of large tractor-trailers is threatening American lives and undercutting U.S. truckers. The move follows President Donald Trump's April executive order, which reinstated enforcement of a rule requiring truck drivers in the U.S. to meet English proficiency standards. That order overturned 2016 guidance that softened enforcement. This week, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy pointed to a fatal crash in Florida involving an Indian national who officials say did not speak English or have legal authorization to be in the country. 3 people were killed, and driver Harjinder Singh now faces vehicular homicide charges. Federal regulators warn that failing to enforce driver qualification standards increases crash risk. The latest action adds to a series of steps by the Trump administration targeting foreign drivers. About 16% of U.S. truckers were born abroad, and many in border regions are now rushing to learn English to keep their jobs. Finally this evening, governments and employers are being urged to act fast to protect workers from the growing dangers of extreme heat. A new joint report from the World Health Organization and the World Meteorological Organization warns that climate change is making heat waves more frequent and intense, already affecting half the world's population. The agency say worker productivity drops 2 to 3% for every degree above 20 degrees Celsius. Health risks range from heat stroke and dehydration to kidney damage and neurological disorders. Manual workers in agriculture, construction, and fisheries, along with vulnerable groups like children and the elderly, are most at risk. The report calls for heat action plans tailored to specific regions and industries, and for better training of health workers since heat stress is often misdiagnosed. The International Labour Organization estimates that more than 2.4 billion workers are exposed to dangerous heat, leading to nearly 23 million job-related injuries each year. Experts stress protecting workers from extreme heat is not only a health imperative, but an economic necessity. And that's all for this edition of Ignite News on 6 at 6. For more stories, visit ignitenews.com or follow us on social media. Thanks for watching. I'm Rihanna Nikram. See you next time for more Ignite News.